Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Atlanta, good morning, Southeast, East Coast, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Today, we have a phenomenal conversation that I've been excited to have with you. And this is what nobody tells you about your business after the elections. And I'm excited about this conversation because this is a conversation that I was invited to have in one of the Spanish news channels, Univision, about in 2016 when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton, and it was also a time where there was a lot of emotional connections around the elections. And so I got invited to go to Univision, and I want to have this was a 7 minute conversation. So today we're going to expand it a little bit more so that we can anchor ourselves in what is actually what are the important aspects to focus on at any election under any circumstances and bring some perspective for the opportunity of your business, right? Because it's very easy to get hypnotized, if you will, at the social conversation, which is very juicy and triggers a lot of the chemicals that keeps you connected, right? It triggers dopamine in your brain, whether it is because you're getting pleasure from the conversation or it is because you're avoiding it and you're worried about it. All those things at the level of the brain create a kind of a reward at the level of the brain. So it's very difficult not to be connected. However, it is critical for a business owner to continue to reinvent himself or herself around the fundamentals of a business and discover for oneself so that you can discover for yourself, you can see for yourself that it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter who is at the top of the office, right? Who is actually running the country for your business. And you could see it. You can really see it every 4 years. If you take a real look at your business and you take a real look at your life, the quality of your life and the growth of your business is not impacted necessarily by who is in office. Let's take a look at that. Let's really take a look at that because this is very important conversation to have for a business owner so that you don't get caught in some social conversation that is really juicy to have that impacts nothing about your business. So here are the three aspects, critical aspects, very important aspects to focus on. This is like if you were a basketball player, and you were concerned about next year's national tournament. And right now you are boiled up and really caught up in the social conversation of the elections, but you're a basketball player and you have a tournament next year. What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on the social conversations and the opinions? Or if you're looking to win the tournament, and the tournament is what you focused on, what do you need to do? What kind of practices do you need to have? So you then at the level of the sport, then you start seeing, well, it doesn't matter if you see it as a sport. Well, it doesn't matter who wins. I need to go practice every day. I need to practice dribbling. I need to practice free shots. I need to practice communication with my team. I need to practice. There's a many things to practice. Who is at the top of the office makes absolutely no difference if you want to win the tournament. I want you to think about it that way. So there are these three aspects to focus on every election, every year, and every quarter, and every day. Three aspects to focus on for your business, right? And it's critical to boil them down this way. The first aspect is continue to become a student of your industry. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. continue to become a student of the industry. The second aspect to focus on and to pay attention to is to continue to become a student of your clients. You gotta still continue to be a student of your clients' behavior, purchasing trends. What do they care about of your clients? Not everybody, your clients. Not everybody buys you. So it's important to take a look at that. And the last one is continue to become a student of yourself. And we're going to look at that a little bit more in today's conversation. And if you have any questions, we'll save some time at the end for some questions. But this is very important to have a great year next year. It doesn't matter who's in office. You'll see it. It doesn't matter who's in office. To have a great year next year is like if you want to win a tournament, a sports tournament of your favorite sport. There's certain things that you got to focus on to have a good next year. Okay, so let's talk about becoming a student of your industry. It's really important to look at your industry, the industry that you're in, and study it. Study the industry itself, right? Study who are the players, the best players of your industry, and study them. What are they focusing on? What are the reports that they're bringing from the field of the industry so that you can start catching some trends or some behavioral trends of your industry, even if you're a solopreneur, even if you are selling insurance, even if you're selling houses, even if you're selling chairs, whatever it is, your industry has a particular trend that you can start focusing on and get excited about what's possible. You don't necessarily need to become the trend of an industry. You don't have to necessarily become what's at the edge of the industry, but by studying it, you can see where your client is in that industry. For example, many of you listening to this call have no idea what is a CD player. And not long ago, we had CDs. And if you were in the industry of selling CDs, right, that you could see at some point that the industry was going to go away. But if you were focused on, well, who's in the elections, you couldn't see that you had to pivot. You couldn't see that you had to start understanding the music industry from a different perspective. You would have stayed focused on, well, how does one party need to think and how does the other party need to think? Who cares how do they need to think in the context? Stay in context, stay relevant to the context, in the context of your business, If you and I start debating on whether inflation is going to impact your business, you're in the wrong conversation to win your numbers, to win your game next year. Because regardless of what the inflation is, regardless if it's lower or if it's higher, your business will win if you start focusing on becoming a student of your industry, becoming a student of your clients, and becoming a student of yourself. Because here's an important aspect. This is something that my mentor told me a long time ago. And as a business owner, I've got to take a look at that often and constantly. And that is, what's more important, resources or to be resourceful? And I don't know anyone who I respect in business and in life who says resources. The most important thing is to be resourceful, to be creative. And in order to be resourceful, in order to be creative, there is a certain personal responsibility that one takes at the opportunity that life is. I hope that makes sense. So I gotta be looking at being responsible for the opportunities I have right now. How do I provide more value to more people with the resources I have so that at some point I can create a conversation with someone who's interested in what I do that can give me those resources? How do I create a partnership with the people that probably have more resources than I do, but we're in the same industry and I can provide value to them? So that leaves you that gives you access to unlimited resources if you are resourceful. That has nothing to do with the elections. That has nothing to do with who's going to be there next year. That's an important aspect to focus on as a business owner if we want to win the game next year. Hope that makes sense. Let's talk about the second one. The second one is continue to become a student of your clients. This is very important. I don't have the slide with me, but I want you to picture this aspect. Every single business needs to have a real conversation on a regular basis on their marketing strategy. Why is it important to have a conversation on a marketing strategy? Because in business, marketing is almost everything. What do I mean by that? Well, you need more customers. Every day you need more customers, or every quarter you need more customers. You need to continue to expand your customer base, right? You need people to continue to buy your product and services every year, every quarter, right? So that has nothing to do with who is winning the elections or who won the elections or who's going to be there next year. That's a conversation on your marketing. Are you connecting emotionally with your target audience? Are you connecting emotionally with the people that buy your product or services? That has nothing to do with an office. You get that? Yeah, you can start taking a new look, a certain responsibility for, oh, let me see, what am I focusing on? I love that. I love that quote or that saying that says you can't catch two rabbits. If you try to catch two rabbits, you catch none. I heard that a while ago, and it made all the sense in the world to me. What am I trying to catch on? Right? Which rabbit do I want to go for? And if my rabbit, the one that I want to get caught, that I want to caught, is having my business win next year, then I gotta start focusing on, well, what are my marketing strategies, or what is the buying behavior of my ideal client? Interestingly, only few people really pay attention to who's their ideal client. Only few business owners actually do. They actually really ask that question every 3 months, every 6 months, because it's not a question you answer once, because your ideal client is constantly shifting and adjusting, and they have different needs. They have different psychological needs. So there's a different language that needs to be said. There's a different approach so that they can continue to see your business, as the solution to their problem or what they care about. So it's critical to be a student of your clients, regardless of who's in the elections, right? You're kind of getting the point. So I'm going to give you these three phases, the three phases of the customer's life cycle, if you will, of your customer life cycle. These three phases to focus on your marketing, so that you can expand your client base next year, even in the next 2 months. In the next 2 months, we have really critical opportunities. There's Christmas, there's Thanksgiving, and there is a psychological flow for purchasing that's about to happen, right? That you can take advantage of if you have the right message. That has nothing to do with the elections. You see that? You're kind of getting the point. So there are these three phases. The first phase to focus on your business is, do you understand and do you know how to attract your customers? Do you understand and do you know how to do that? How to attract your prospects so that they can become customers later? Do you understand and do you know how to create a strategic plan, a plan so that you can start creating a relationship with the most number of people around your product and services? An emotional relationship with. Do you allow yourself and to huddle up with your team or just by yourself and think, okay, what would be the best way I can start a relationship, an emotional relationship with the most number of people who are looking for my product or services? Whether you sell filters or whether you sell water or whether you sell cell phones, whatever it is, whatever that is, there's an opportunity to start a relationship with them. Once you start a relationship with them, then you start looking at, okay, well, what do they want that I can give them? What do they want that I can give them for free or for a very low entry point or something that will grab their attention so that I can continue to create a relationship with this very big prospect list that costs me very little so that I can start offering them in the future. What can I do? You know, if you had a painting company, right? And I do this, and I've done this, I've been in the painting company before. One of the things that we often say very, very often is free estimates. We often say that. Free estimates. We're going to be in your neighborhood, free estimates, one room for free. One room for free. Right? So that really creates this kind of like tension. They're like, customers are like, oh, you're going to paint my house? I've been looking to paint my house for 10 years. I am actually kind of interested, and you're going to paint the one room for free. Let me see. So it's kind of like a hook, right? This is kind of understanding your customer. You get the point. Get that? You kind of get the point. Critical aspect to master. How to attract the attention of your prospects. What does that has to do with the elections? Nothing. Nothing. So we want to start confronting that. What am I paying attention to? Also, what is the best marketing strategy? And the best people in the world will tell you the best marketing strategy is education. That's the best marketing strategy. So you want to ask yourself, how do I educate the most number of people around the benefits of the products and services I provide? What strategy can I create around educating the most number of people? And nowadays with technology, you can really educate a large number of people for very little cost. And you've got to allow yourself to be creative around that and partner with people that can be creative around that. But all of that is not going to be possible. None of that is going to be possible, in my opinion. Now, do I have a lot of value in my opinion? A little bit. But it's just my opinion. Anyway. So, if I want to provide the most value to the most number of people, and I'm going to be creative and I'm going to be turning myself upside down for the opportunity of this creativity, that is not going to happen, in my opinion, unless I am really clear that I love my customers. That you genuinely love the people you serve. I know I've been in business and we do, as you know, we do leadership trainings and we do communication trainings and we do some, for small business owners, we do some marketing training too. And also we provide services in that direction. I know, we've been in business for almost a decade. I know that I wouldn't have been able to go through and push through some of the biggest breakdowns of my life. I wouldn't have been able to go through that or push through that unless I truly felt like I was genuinely serving the people, my customers and my prospects. That I didn't absolutely love the possibility that their businesses are and their lives are. You've got to kind of become this crusader, if you will, or this mission-driven kind of human being at the level of your heart, so that when you go through really difficult moments, you still think, yeah, but if I quit, what's going to happen to my customers? What happened with my prospects? You got to kind of sort of have your heart in this whole thing. And the most simple way I can say it is you got to love the people you serve. Like genuinely love them. So that when there is a new trend, there is an industry move, when the pandemic comes, you're still looking at, well, how do I continue to serve them even though the industry is changing? Because that kind of passion allows you to reinvent yourself. Being in business for the sake of business is in my opinion, as a business owner, it's a real nightmare. Real nightmare because there's so many breakdowns and there's so many difficult moments. It's just better to be an employee at that moment. Not loving the people you serve, it's just better to be an employee. So continue to become a student of your client's purchasing cycle. right? So we talk about you gotta master the attraction, you gotta master the education so that you can start selling them. There is a way to sell to people, right? And some people say, oh, I'm not a salesperson. And they really defend that notion. I don't like it. I really need to find someone else. Well, if you're the business owner, you're the heart of the sales organization, right? If you say you don't like salespeople, I mean you don't like to sell, then you really need to start figuring out how you start taking some courses so that you can find the love inside of selling your product and services. No one is going to sell your product or service better than you do if you're the business owner. No one will. Because they don't have that blood, they don't have that DNA connected to the business like you are. And at the end of the day, everything is sales. If I have a debate conversation with anyone who tells me that they don't like sales and they win the debate, they basically sold me on how they don't like sales. That in itself is a sales conversation. It's about influencing the behavior of another human being or the thought. Yeah, it's about influencing how people think and then creating the opportunity of purchasing. So that one needs to master that, how to influence another human being at the level of the emotions or at the level of what they're electing at that moment and why your product and services is the best idea at that moment. Not everyone's going to buy every day. However, you can master the sales conversation. That has nothing to do who is in power next year. You kind of get where I'm going. What to focus on has nothing to do with who's in power next year. And the last aspect of your product or your customer life cycle is, well, how are you delivering your product and services? How are you creating an emotional connection that creates a lifetime impact or at least a 6-month impact? How are you doing that? Right? If you're an Apple fan, right? Apple products, if you're an Apple product fan, when you buy your phone or when you buy your computer or when you buy anything and they give you that box, for those people who are Apple fans, they're like, the box. It's like, I'm saving the box. You have a relationship with the box. That's an emotional impact at the moment of delivery. You bet somebody was thinking that, right? And you want to think like that about your business. Critical conversation. Does that make sense? Critical conversation to have. And that has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with who's going to be at the office next year. So this is about taking responsibility for your business, as you can tell. And then the last aspect, and then we're almost ready to wrap up. The last aspect is to become a student of yourself. Yes, of actually yourself. It's critical to understand yourself. Critical. Because I do a lot of coaching and I coach a lot of entrepreneurs and I coach mid-size and large-size businesses, businesses with 2,000 employees and total sales revenue of over $1 billion, $2 billion. So I do a lot of coaching over the years. And one of the aspects that I've had encountered myself and often I encounter in other people is how they sabotage their growth. People constantly sabotage the momentum that they have for their feelings and their emotions, and I don't feel right, and it doesn't feel correct, and it's time for a vacation or something. A lot of times when I am coaching small business owners, like solopreneurs, people that they are the business, they create this momentum, right? And they start gathering information and they start creating their prospect list and they start making the phone calls and then they start creating momentum and all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm really tired. And I'm like, no, this is not the time to get tired. Share some of your product, your market, your profit margins and give it to someone else. Get a salesperson. You got to do something. This is not the time to get tired because we got to create momentum. Momentum is critical. And they say, no, I'm too tired. I got to go on vacation. I got to go visit my children. I got to do the lawn. I got to go do my dishes. I got to fix my roof. I got to fix my garage. These are just examples. And then they sabotage their growth. They stop. They don't continue to work to maintain momentum. And there are many reasons for that we're not going to get into that. Many reasons for that. I mean, this is complex. People's past, traumas, fears. There's a lot of aspects of that. And that's why this is the most critical conversation to have. And today we're not going to have it. But the most important conversation to have to grow your business is, do you understand yourself? Do you understand your own humanity? Do you understand how to lead yourself? And then a massively different conversation is how to lead others, right? That's a different conversation. But everything we have been talking about today has nothing to do, in order to win the game of business next year, has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with who's going to be in office next year, who starts in January. It has nothing to do with what happened 4 years ago, or 8 years ago, or 16 years ago, or 32 years ago. Yes, people who are in office impact the course of history. That's so valid and it's true. But no matter what has happened in humanity, those human beings, those entrepreneurs who seek opportunity under the circumstances, win the game of business. And you know, and you have plenty of examples of businesses that have been born and grown under the most difficult circumstances, under the most difficult economies. So this is a conversation I wanted to have with you to redirect ourselves on what are the fundamentals that will have us win next year. And yeah, if you want to argue with your cousin and your uncle and about who's right and who's wrong, have at it. But it has nothing to do with your business. Absolutely not. So that's my time. I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions. Love to hear you. Would love to hear you. Otherwise, we will wrap up very shortly. I am always grateful to have the opportunity to connect with you. The Daily Huddle is my family. The Daily Huddle is a community that has given me strength and power in the most difficult moments of my life. I love you, Virtue. I love you, Stan, Sue, Rashida, Chase. Man, you're a loyal partner in this thing we call life.
Love you too, Gio.
And I love you all. I really do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this family. Thank you for being part of this conversation. Remember, we all can all tune on YouTube, or if you're listening to us for the first time and you go to the dailyhuddle.live, you can join us live every morning at 9 a.m. Stan, is there anything you want to say to add up to this conversation, or should we just all wrap up?
I think we're going to wrap up, man. I just love that. I love your conversation always, brother. And it's always good, so good to be here, man. Thank you for what you do, man. Thank you.
Awesome, Stan. Thank you for being here, and thank you all for being here. So we have 9 tenets that we share every single day to have a renegade life. You got to have a renegade life. The first one is love. Love always. Love those who you have an opinion about. Love those who voted different from you. Love those who think different from you. Love those you can't love. Love them anyway. Have love be the philosophy of your life. The second one is laugh more. Stretch your cheeks. Have fun at this life. There might not be another opportunity for this life. Might as well laugh. It's good for your confidence and your sexiness and everything you want. Sleep more. Give yourself a chance to sleep more. It triggers the right chemicals in your brain that triggers your creativity, your power, your self-expression, your freedom. Sleeping is critical. And if you're a man, it triggers testosterone. You want testosterone in your life. Sleeping creates that. So make sure you sleep. Move every day. Every day move. In the morning, as soon as you wake up, go out for a 10-minute walk. Right after lunch, go out for a 10-minute walk. Every single day you can move, create that habit for yourself. It will stretch years in your life and also enjoy the quality of your life. Stress less. It's only one life. Stress less. It's not that big of a deal. Enjoy the ride. Stress less. And the last two, the first one is give. You can always give. Find a way to give. What you give often than not comes back to you comes back to your family, comes back in wisdom, comes back. Give. And lastly, and critical, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check your assumptions. You know what Mark Twain said? The problem is not what we don't know. Mark Twain says the problem is what you know for sure that just ain't so. That's your daily huddle today. I love you. See you Monday, 9 a.m. Bye-bye, everybody.
Peace and blessings, Gio.
Thank you.